What's up, guys? John from Beyond ARTV. It's time for another track review. Pierce the Veil's new one, Texas is Forever. It's the follow-up to the Divine Zero that they released in June of last year, I think it was. They've been talking about a new record for a while now, and I'm wondering exactly where that was. And finally, they announced Misadventures. I believe it was last week. We get a new single here. And Pierce the Veil just being one of my favorite bands out of the, I guess, the alt press scene. Bands that I find to blend together quite often. Pierce the Veil are one that kind of soar above that and broke my expectations. Fell in love with their album Collide with the Sky. After it came out, I was a little bit late getting around to them, but I'm a big fan of that, and even their album Selfish Machines as well, and I'm looking forward to Misadventures in May. I think that they do a good job with storytelling, just blistering riffs, and then kind of balancing it out with some slower, more intricate moments as well. And I'm seeing that coming through once again on Texas is Forever. It's not necessarily seeing them push too much in a new direction, but at the same time, it is something fresh, and I'm loving the guitar riffs on this thing. That's the main thing that really stood out to me. Not so much the vocals here. They normally do really stand out from Vic Fuentes, but this is something that I'm not saying that he's subdued here. It's just that they don't necessarily match quite the intensity of the track, and that would probably be my one complaint with it. It's just that they don't sound as urgent as maybe they could or should. But Texas is Forever, from an instrumental point of view, fantastic. Pretty much no complaints here. I think it's one of the best songs that I've heard, at least in, I don't know if it would necessarily rival their top tracks from their last album, but it's definitely something that's getting the job done for me, and I think that over time this could become one of my favorite Pierce the Veil tracks. The main thing that I'm noticing here is kind of the layering that's going on. There's kind of a really furious attack that's going on in some of the choruses, and then it lays back a little bit in the breakdown of the track, which is something that I thought was kind of interesting. They kind of laid off it. There's definitely some heavy riffs that come through and cycle in, but then there's this guitar line. It's kind of warm, subdued in the background, not muted, but at the same time they've got a couple of layers with the guitars going on there, and even some of the bass work, and just the slow crashing cymbals there in the background sounds really, really nice. It gets me kind of hyped up, especially whenever it builds back up and kind of transitions back into some of the screamed vocals, which is something that we're once again getting here. You never know with bands like this if they're going to try and just like move in a totally different direction, if they're going to try and get rid of the screaming, but it's definitely still here, and it's definitely well done. It's a very, very solid track from Pierce the Veil. I think that it's something, if you're a fan of this band, then it's going to be almost impossible for you to be let down with the track. That's kind of how I feel about it, at least, because it's exactly what fans would kind of not expect necessarily, but want from them. So a fantastic instrumental on the track. Loving the guitar tones here, just the storytelling that's going on, definitely giving off a very kind of Western vibe. Makes sense. Texas is Forever. I kind of thought about that, and then I was like, wait, remember the title of the song. You know why this makes sense. For me personally, I'm going to have to say 4 out of 5 for this new track. It's got me excited for Misadventures. The Divine Zero is going to be on the record as well. If you have not seen my track review of that, I would suggest finding it on my channel. I will probably link to it in the description. Follow me on Twitter at ARTV Reviews. Other than that, I will see you guys very soon right here on Beyond ARTV.